So we are back with some more ramblings, and this is take 2, and I have to remember to say this slowly. Our previous video went over interpolation, which is fine. It's reconstructing of something. So think hip-hop hooks and such. They take something and they rearrange it into something else, right? Recontextualization, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, it's a mouthful, I know, is another aspect of it, and we're going to be showing you an example after I give you the meaning. So recontextualization is a process that extracts text, signs, and meanings from its original context in order to introduce it to another context, right? Sounds like sampling. Since the meaning of the text and signs depend on the context, recontextualization implies a change of meaning and is often in the commutative purposes too. And there's some name and whatever. So there's basically another meaning below this. It's the dynamic transfer and transformation of something from one discourse text in context to another. So, holy crap. 10th grade reading level, here we go. So I'm going to show you an example of something in a different context. And we're dealing with the sound itself. And this is where you hear the term burying it in the mix. If that makes any sense. So we have 2 samples here, and I want you to listen to this beginning part. And it's a bonus if you were unaware of this. So check this out. Right? That's Justice Civilization. What's all these words I can't say? Right? Listen to that. So that is slowed down twice. So this is Rage Against the Machine, i.e. we repeat things over and over while we yell it. And this is basically where it's taken from. Right? So yeah, so that is the extraction of this and turning it into something in a completely different context, which could be pitching it down, pitching it up, processing it in extreme ways, changing the rhythmic kind of variations. It's still slightly the same rhythmic variations, but it's slower. And they added a bunch of processing to it. Right, that part. So they're using it in a completely different context. So recontextualization works in your favor, because if you take, say, something from a rock band or a rock something from a rock recording, and you make, say, a deep house track out of it. It's in a completely different context in terms of the genre, and that's pretty important. And that's another kind of shield that you can use if you're going through that. So basically, it's making something undistinctive, right? And that delves into fair use, which I'm kind of excited to get into. And it delves into the effect on the potential market. You wouldn't know unless you listened to this and you had an ear for it that it's the same thing, right? So with sampling, it's a good idea to make it so it's not the same thing, right? When you get down to the bits in the waveform, it's completely different. And in the context of the track, you know, you go to the middle. Completely different context, you're golden. And that is it, really. So one thing I forgot to mention about interpolation and sampling, and the hook, and why the hook is so important. If you watch that documentary about Girl Talk, they use far too much, right? And that is an issue if you use far too much. It could constitute something called sound collage, but Girl Talk, in a nutshell, they use the complete hooks of songs in a mashup and sound collage way, but still, it doesn't constitute as interpolation, or the word I've been struggling to say, recontextualization. Doesn't apply to that, so generally he could run into some trouble down the road, and that really depends. Yeah. Also, sample length does not mean much. There's no hard rule. There's no 20% of the track, or there's no, oh, you can sample up to 20 seconds. That doesn't apply, and that doesn't make any sense, and I haven't seen that cited anywhere. It comes from the old SP1200 that could only sample 10 seconds. So you can only sample 10 seconds on an SP1200, which was the first thing they sampled on. And I think that's where it came from. So, remember, if you're going to sample something, rearrange it and make it indistinguishable. So if you interpolate it differently and then put it into a different context, different genre, different market, then you're golden, and I give you 2 thumbs up and a firm tap on the butt. All right, we'll be back with some more fun stuff.